What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon, joined back into another preview video for round 4 of the Six Nations. This one is for Scotland versus Wales. We're going to take a look at the teams that have been announced, go over the squads, give our thoughts and predictions on how we think this game might go, and of course, finally, going over a score prediction for this one. This one, Scotland versus Wales, Ireland versus France is already up on the channel. You can go check that one out after this one if you haven't already. And Scotland-Wales is probably my favourite fixture of the Six Nations. It just is. I absolutely love this game. It is probably the fixture I have been to the most in terms of like actually going to a stadium, and I absolutely love this one. I've been up to Murrayfield quite a few times. I've been to the Principality to watch this fixture. One, because these games typically have good scores in them, and the scores are normally a bit narrow, and it's just such an enjoyable game to watch. But also the Wales and Scotland fans just gel. It's always such a good laugh. I have been up in Murrayfield as the only guy in a red jersey, surrounded by blue jerseys, and had people buying me beers and having a good laugh. I went to this fixture last year down in the Principality, for anyone who can cast their mind back that far. And in this one, Scotland absolutely dominated the game for the first half. It was a Scotland runaway. We had such a good laugh with a bunch of the Scottish supporters. And then in the second half, Wales kicked it up a gear and Scotland kind of fell off, and Wales went all the way back, and then they were having a good laugh with us about, oh my God, we're going to lose this game from here. And it ended up being that 1 point win for Scotland last year. And it was like, that was such an enjoyable game to watch, and getting involved with it with the Scotland fans as well. I just love this fixture. So I'm really looking forward to this one, even if, there's other massive fixtures on this weekend, like, Ireland versus France. This is the one I always enjoy every year. Let's jump in then and talk about the home team first. Scotland, this year over in Murrayfield. And last week went on to play England and lost that game by 1 point. Now, in the preview video last week, I said my score prediction was going to be England to win. I think in the video I said England by 2 on the Super Brew. By the time kickoff, I was like, I'm going to do England by 1. I think England are going to win this one by 1. So I was able to get the prediction correct. It was an England win. But honestly, watching that game, I can't believe I got that right. Because Scotland, I think, honestly, for me, they played better. Overall, I thought they had such a good run. There were a couple of things in that game that really let them down, and I really hope it's looked at by the coaching staff, because there was so many good attacking plays by Scotland that just didn't turn into points. Of course, you had that kick at the end. Finn Russell missing kicks across the game was not good anyway, but that one kick at the end where he then got moved back those extra meters, towards the touchline, like that makes a kick harder. But any of those kicks throughout the game, that they got missed, always important. So I hope things are going to be changed up for this one, because Wales are a team at the minute. Who knows what Wales are going to bring to this one, in all honesty. Let's start off in the front row, though. P.S. Gooman, Dave Cherry, and Xander Fagerson. Now, the Scotland boys, always, up for a good scrum, but the front rows, specifically in terms of the ball carrying, have also been very good. Xander Fagerson, for me, honestly, has outshone the other props in this team, which he's up there for ball carrying anyway. But I think over this Six Nations, I've really enjoyed just seeing how good he's been at carrying the ball. So for people looking at your fantasy teams and stuff, Xander Fagerson is someone that's been very, very busy over the course of this Six Nations. Lock department, Johnny Gray going alongside Grant Gilchrist. I think this has been the partnership for all 4 rounds so far. Line out is an area that you can take from Wales. The line out situation isn't 100% perfect for Wales at the minute, so certainly an area I think they could look to contest and try and take that ball. That is an area I think worth challenging for Scotland. And then as you look into these the back row, Jamie Ritchie, Roy Darge, Jack Dempsey. Now this has been a switch around. They've done the Matt Fagerson in for Jamie Ritchie and where they're going to go with it. I think for me, I might have kept Matt Fagerson on just to start this game, just to have a bit more go forwards. I think the thing against this Wales team is just keep possession away from them. Keep possession away from them and just keep going for the recycled big, heavy carries. Don't kick the ball back to them. Me, Jamie Ritchie's going to be more impactful around the breakdown. And Wales certainly, they're a team at the minute that I don't think have enough confidence in their own breakdown and being able to just keep recycling that ball. So one thing I've seen from Wales is that they overload in the ruck department. Almost all the rucks, they keep just chucking 3-4 men in a ruck every single time. They overload it because they're not necessarily that confident in it at the minute. So having someone that's big in the jackal, big for those turnovers, might not be quite as useful for me. because Wales are probably going to overload that ruck anyway, it makes it even harder to be able to get a turnover in that thing. I would have preferred to have seen Matt Ferguson start purely for having him alongside of Jack Dempsey at the same time in order to be able to have two huge ball carriers to actually put yourselves over the line when you have possession. But they've gone for the back three of Jamie Ritchie in there as well. Rory Darge is another one that's been doing very well for the Scotland team over the Six Nations, and I remember when he came onto the scene a few years back now, and I remember being like, this guy's blowing me away. And then Rory Darge, I don't know, been a little bit more quiet over his time, but this Six Nations again, I think he's elevating it a bit more. He's certainly looked like a much more dependable open side at the minute, and I'm enjoying seeing him play as well. Halfback partnership, Ben White going alongside Finn Russell once again. Finn Russell's just going to be your kicking duties now. You know, that got to be on point, got to be having those games. If you go back through, you know, the last few years of this game, you know, it was 1 point last year. It was a 1 point game back in 2021. It was a 3 point game back in 2022. A 4 point game back in 2020. You know, you're looking at penalties being a big deal in these fixtures, right? So, you know, you've got to make sure you're starting those kicks through, even if Wales at the minute you're not quite sure where they're going to be at. You've got to be landing those 3 points to really punish them when the opportunity comes. Because discipline for Wales over the Six Nations have been pretty poor. Last week was good, actually, and penalty counts were kept a little bit low, and that is an area, you know, if they're going to start working on their discipline and being better, you've got to take the threes when they arrive, because they might not have as many opportunities as you would have done at the start of the Six Nations. Centre partnership, Tom Jordan going in alongside of Hugh Jones as well. Now, Stafford McDowell came on last week and actually made a good impact to the Scotland team. Something that was bothering me last week. Now, I know Duhan van der Merwe got over for his try. He got man of the match. He made a whole bunch of meters. He had a good game, right? There was still a number of times in that game where there was 3-on-1, 2-on-1, give the ball to Duhan van der Merwe, he's running this over from 50 metres. And I kept saying, I didn't have him in the fantasy, so I was keeping a real close eye on him because I thought lots of other people would. And I was praying that they wouldn't give him the ball because I don't want other people to score points, right? But sometimes they actually didn't. And I was very, very surprised that Duhan van der Merwe wasn't utilised even more than he already did in that game. I think he had a good game last week, but could have done more. And this centre partnership is one it's very interesting the way Scotland run. They really seem to dislike the idea of always giving it to the wing. They're big fans, and I remember seeing it as well when they've had Stafford McDowell in the first round, and two people to an extent in previous years. When they get on the outside and they go on the outside shoulder, Finn Russell's played the loop around the back and they're running up, and you've got your centre here and your winger here and you're running down the side. They really don't always look for the extra pass. Even if it's on, they like to take the centres, take it into contact to know you've got your player on the outside of you to be able to get involved with the ruck and support you in the ruck after you're tackled. I think there's more opportunities for this Scotland backs where they're such an aggressive attacking backline. I think it's worth a few more times rolling the dice and giving the extra pass away and letting them go. You know, you sort of see what France have done with the backs. And you watch, you know, the ball's getting out wide to Louis Bielbiaré. We had it, you know, last round. He's catching it in one hand and popping it back inside. You know, they're playing the risks. They're going a little bit further. And those can really pay off and just completely smash a defensive line open. And Wales at the minute, the scrambled defence is okay. But if you get past the phase play of just sort of running into the wall, if you can get around it, Wales are going to struggle to keep up with you, and players like Duhan van der Merwe, Darcy Graham now in for the side as well, which is great to see him back, and Blair Kinghorn as well. These types of players, once they get past you in the defensive line, they're away. You know, that's so hard to be able to hunt any of these three lads down, right? I would like to see him be a bit more risky. I feel like sometimes they can just hold back a little bit, and if you take those extra little risks and get it out wider, quicker, let the wingers get more involved, I can see them having a good game in this one. But that was something I noticed in the England one. I think there was more opportunities that they didn't really utilise because the centres kept taking it into contact rather than giving the one extra pass and sort of taking that risk. Maybe I just want to see more expansive rugby. I'm not a rugby coach. You know, I don't know the ins and outs of what goes in behind the locker room talk. In the replacements then, Ewan Ashby, Rory Sutherland, Will Hurd going to come on in that second half alongside Gregor Brown and Matt Ferguson. They've gone for the 5-3. Not a terrible angle, to be fair. I think worth keeping the backs to have a good game. I think 6-2 would have been more punishing for Wales, but Wales' defensive maul's been pretty solid. Wales' scrum looked okay last week. I think you could have looked at the 6-2 just to have kind of fought that little area a bit more. I think the Scotland backs are looking good, and they've got enough coverage with other people being able to play positions with Blair Kinghorn can move to wing or fly half, and Tom Jordan can also go in at fly half as well. You know, I think they've got enough coverage there. They maybe could have got away with a 6-2 for this one, but they've gone 5-3, and then Stafford Widell and Kyle Rowe going in as those replacement backs as well. You know, Kyle Rowe again, we've got good coverage to come on in a couple of different places as well. I think they could have got away with a 6-2. I might have liked to have seen that come in for Scotland and put a bit more pressure on the Wales forwards and just let the backs get that ball nice and early, let them get on the charge and get out on the wing and make some good carry meters in this game. On to Wales then, who last week nearly caused an upset beyond all upsets, I think, for this Six Nations going in. Best game by Wales in I don't even know. 3 years, I don't know. I'm gonna, I don't know. Back to the World Cup, basically, is where I'm at. It's a good while since I've seen a performance where I was like, these boys look like they're up for this challenge. They're going up against Ireland. Granted, Ireland had a lot of changes going into their side as well, but it's still a very heavily stacked Ireland side. For me, they were tournament favourites going in. I think Wales really, really turned up against an aggressive Ireland side and did extremely well for considering the circumstances. I'm sure they're all going into it thinking we're probably not going to win this one, but throw the kitchen sink at it. New coach, new players coming in. There's new excitement, and and it felt so nice to be like, oh man, I'm actually excited to watch a Wales team play, and it felt like it worked a lot better. Still, mistakes always going to be a thing when you've got a lot of changes coming in and new players being put in positions, new coaches. It's always going to happen, right? They only had like 3 training sessions before that Ireland game rather. So I was impressed by that Wales team last week. I was enjoying seeing some actual excitement and just enjoying the game overall, which is nice to be able to say from a long while of saying not being able to say that about the Wales team. Let's start out this front row then. Nicky Smith, Elliot Dee, Will Griff-John. Will Griff-John. What a game that boy had. Against an Irish scrum that I thought they were going to really struggle against. Will Griff-John was brutal. And that's what you want to be seeing. He really getting in the way of, it was Clarkson, right, who was in the Irish scrum. Really just getting in the inside and causing those issues and refs picking it up. That is a really solid scrum from Wales. Around the park, tackling hard. Honestly, as that game was going on, I was like, I know the man in the match is not going to be coming from that sort of Wales side, but Will Griff-John, there's not often you get to really talk about props maybe getting a man in the match. I thought Will Griff-John was fabulous in that game. So glad to see him back in the squad again. Nicky Smith and Elliot Dee. I think this is the right front row to go with. Dewi Lake is back in, by the way. He's back on the bench. I've only just seen that. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Last week it worked well. Give it another game, see how it gets on. Oh, by the way, I'm going to sort of spoil the rest of this 15 very quickly here, but it's the same 15. It's the same 15 they had for the Ireland game, and I saw a report yesterday that was saying this is the first time in 66 games that Wales have put out the starting 15 that's identical from back-to-back games. 60, and I can't validate that. I haven't got a list of team sheets that can go back 66 games on my end, right? But it's if it's in an article, I'm going to say that they've hopefully done their own research, right? If that's true, the 66 games is insane to be able to have an identical starting 15. And I think that's the right way to do it. Get your consistency now. New coaching, see out the rest of the Six Nations. Try and keep that consistency. Try and build towards if they could take a win against Scotland, that would be a really good win. A win against England would also be a really good win for them at this point. So I would stick with the consistency. I think it's a good move. The rest of the forwards then: Will Rose, David Jenkins, Jack Morgan, Tommy Raffel, Tului Faletau. Jack Morgan for me is still that shining star, man. Jack Morgan works so hard in this team. So nice to see, as a captain, to be like, oh, look at how much he's stepping up and being able to just lead from the front. He's involved in so many tackles. The ball carrying is awesome. He's always looking dangerous to get over for tries. I'm really enjoying Jack Morgan's play at the minute. Halfback partnership once again. Thomas Williams and Gareth Anscombe. How nice is it to have a fly half playing fly half? The difference it makes is just night and day. Organising the play, being able to actually sort out your team and let someone get on with their own game. It impacted the centre partnership. Ben Thomas and Max Llewellyn going in alongside each other once again. Ben Thomas just allowed to get on with his game at 12, and he's doing okay at 12. He looks a little bit dangerous when he takes the ball up to the line. He's offering support passes out. Max Llewellyn was getting involved, and he looked dangerous as well. It's like, this is great. This is what you want to be seeing. Putting players in the position they're meant to play and working alongside each other well is the way to do rugby. Right, we're learning as it goes on. But I was very, very impressed with that. And then this back three: Ellis Mead, Tom Rogers, and Blair Murray. Blair Murray again. hard working all over the park, running some really nice lines around the back, trying to be that support player, fill in as like a 16th man in your attacking line. He's sort of doing the double run across, getting that offload out, and both the wingers. If only was it Ellis Mees try that? Oh, just so short against Ireland. If they just give it, they deserve to have a try at that point. I thought Ellis Mees would have had a superb game if he could have got that one down. And then the replacements: Dowie Lake, Gareth Thomas, and Kieran Azarati going on in that second half. It's a bit of a drop down. Dowie Lake coming back is going to be some great second half ball carrying. The line out department could still be a question. I'm going to have to wait to see how Dowie Lake. He's had a long time out now. His line out throwing was a little bit questionable. See how he gets on, but he's always solid for the ball carrying. Kieran Azarati coming in for the scrum is going to be a bit of a dip off from what Will Griffjohn was showing off last week, so hopefully he can step it up to that level as well. Teddy Williams and Aaron Wainwright coming on in that second half. Isn't it amazing that Aaron Wainwright doesn't get in this? I think Aaron Wainwright's so in form, but just doesn't get that starting shirt. I wouldn't be opposed to the idea if they did do, like, Aaron Wainwright came in at 6, Jack Morgan 7, Falatau at 8, and actually had Tommy Raffel on the bench and brought him on later. I think that would be it. But if the way Scotland done it, they've gone for Matt Fagerson coming on from the bench, Aaron Wainwright to come on is that's going to be a great sort of matchup between those two lads coming on as well. And then the replacement backs: Roger Williams, Jared Evans, and Joe Roberts, just to cover that as well. 5-3 for them as well. I'm hoping Wales keep this expansive. I'm hoping they keep it wide. I'm not sure a 6-2 would be worth it for Wales at this point. I think keep the 5-3. Play through the backs, play a bit more expansively, keep your different options available to come on in that second half. I think that's a better move for them. But a game I'm genuinely looking forward to. Scotland versus Wales should be a fun matchup this week. Predictions. What do we reckon is going to go on in this game then? Now, I honestly, the scrum blew me away last week for Wales. I wouldn't be surprised if Scotland actually have a little bit more, respect going into this game than they may have done at the start of Six Nations around that Wales scrum. I think that could look dangerous. I'm certainly favouring Scotland to be able to take a few of the line-outs to be able to take over that area. The Scottish backline is so aggressive. It's so attacking. They've got such solid players there. If this game is allowed to open up and Wales do the kicking thing, which a couple of times they did kick it back a few times, and you just got to hold on to possession. If they start doing that game, I can see the Scotland backs having a bit of a field day with this. Wales, second time round for this squad coming out just to try and match up together. Defence has got to be on point. There's a lot of very dangerous Scottish backs. If they can keep it tight knit and really just keep ticking away the points, I can see this one actually being quite a close game. In front of the home crowd, I'm expecting Scotland to have that step as well. 1 point loss to England. They'll be really annoyed about that. I'm expecting a big bounce back from that Scotland team. So I'm going to still be going for a Scotland win for my prediction. But it might not be quite as much as I would have said if this game was happening like round 1 or round 2. I'm going to go for a Scotland win. I think the return of Darcy in that back line. Blair Kinghorn's been doing well. Duan van der Merwe's always up for one of these fixtures as well. I'm going to say a Scotland win. I might go to double figures. I might say a Scotland win by 11. I think is what I'm going to go for. I'm really hoping it's going to be a solid game now. I really hope Wales keep that intensity they did from last week. But I just think that the Scotland bounce back from the England loss is going to be something really, really important for them. Hopefully they've been able to work out a few of those issues with just giving the ball quicker to the wingers. Let the Scottish wingers go, because they're great to watch, but they've just got to have a bit more room to be able to work with. Let me know down in the comment section, guys, what you guys think of the teams and also your own score predictions. Make sure you're doing your fantasy picks as well and getting them locked in on Super Brew and the official Six Nations one as well. There will, of course, be a fantasy video up on the channel at some point today. I'm going to go through and build my team for the official Six Nations one, and then I'll spend a bit more time over the course this evening doing my Super Brew one as well. Results of that on Monday. Let's all look forward to a really fun week of the Six Nations. Well, round 4 just around the corner. I'll see you all next time, guys. Bye bye.